How's your Lent going so far? We're right about the midway point of this season that begins on Ash Wednesday and culminates on Resurrection Sunday on Easter. And I just wonder how we're doing at making our way through Lent. Lent is a time that invites people who are followers of Jesus Christ to think more deeply about their faith life, to ponder their own mortality, to practice some of the spiritual disciplines like prayer and fasting and almsgiving. And I don't know whether you have adopted that practice. A lot of people choose to adopt the practice of giving something up for Lent, or other people decide to take on something new during Lent. Whatever that is, I hope that that's going well for you. I'm kind of curious about that. I think in society a lot of people understand that Christians are supposed to give something up for Lent, but they don't really know why. Now, I chose at the beginning of this Lent to give up coffee. Now, I have to say, Reverend Mosing was pretty skeptical about this and what sort of repercussions there might be for the people who have to put up with me on a daily basis if I gave up coffee completely. And I chose to give that up for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to be really attentive. I wanted it to be something that I would miss, and in those moments that would cause me to be more aware of my need for God in my life and to be more attentive for God's presence. And the other was basically to have a reset on my caffeine intake, reducing that. I'm still drinking tea, so I'm getting some caffeine, but not near the amount that I get from drinking coffee. And I don't really know how much that has impacted me, because right at the beginning of Lent I had COVID and my symptoms were head congestion and headaches. Not sure how much of the headache was due to COVID and how much was due to the caffeine reduction. But other than that, it's gone really well. And my first part of that goal was to become closer to God. And I will tell you that's worked. Because when I walk into a room and someone is drinking a cup of coffee and I can smell it, I think, gosh, I really want a cup of coffee. Or when I come downstairs in the morning, Jen has made a pot of coffee and I smell that and I think, gosh, I should get a cup of coffee. I've been able to not do that. And in those moments, that makes me say, this is the place where my desire needs to be redirected to God's presence in my life. I'm looking forward to being at the end of this time, because I'm looking forward to drinking coffee again. And in fact, I've actually counted the Sundays as little Easters. That's part of the teaching of the church, by the way. If you do the math, from Ash Wednesday to Easter Sunday, it's more than 40 days. That's because the Sundays don't count. So you'll see me sometimes on Sunday mornings at the 9:30 service in our modern worship service, having my one cup of coffee for the week. It's actually good because it spurs me on and keeps me going a little bit more. And I'm curious where you are with your own practices during this season of Lent. How's it going for you? What have you learned? What have you discovered? What has challenged you? What has been successful for you? So if you're watching this through our Facebook page, you might just put a note in the comments about that, about how your Lent is going and what practices have been successful for you or what's been particularly challenging. If you're watching this, if you got it in an email link and you're watching it that way through YouTube, maybe just shoot an email to me. I'd love to hear from you, hear how things are going. As I said, we're about halfway through, and in just a few weeks we're going to be at Resurrection Sunday. I want us to come to that place with a greater appreciation for our need for Christ in our life, to be growing closer in our walk with Jesus throughout this season, and to have this presence of God that we can come forth with joy and reckless abandon as we come into Easter this season. So as you're making your way through wherever you are with your own practice of Lent, I pray that you will have a blessed season, that you will grow closer to Christ, and that we will all approach the end of this season looking forward to the joy of resurrection. May God bless you today.